Hi, I'm Michael Killen. My guest was Marion O'Leary. Take a brief break, and if you're coming into this program now, we're going to start on another topic. And again, this is an unedited version of the making of a film called Painting to Change the World. Now, there is a part of the world that's extremely important to all of us, and it's called the coastal oceans. It's that area of water 20, 30 miles off of New York City, off of San Francisco, off of Mumbai, off of Shanghai. It's an area where the bulk of the fish that you and I rely on for nourishment exists. And I have invited Marion O'Leary. He is a consultant from the Carnegie Institute of Science to discuss the importance of that particular part of the world. Thank you for being here again.
My pleasure.
Did I set this up effectively?
You set it up very well. It's the boundary line between the land where all of us live and those very, very large oceans out there that we landlubbers know only slightly.
We only know it slightly, really.
We personally know it. The oceanographers understand it fairly well, but we ordinary mortals who spend our time on land know it much less well.
What is happening in this body of water that's right next to the bulk, 50% of the population, I think you told me?
Right.
What's happening with that body of water, if anything, that could have an impact on climate change, civilization?
Lots of things. Let's think about it this way. Let's have the ocean be over here, and let's have the land be over here. So the ocean is here and it's level. We've got about 30 miles from here to here. And then the land starts in and it sort of goes uphill. Think about what happens out here on the land. It rains. Lots of water comes down. Some of that water soaks in. It makes things grow. A lot of it washes down. Where does it end up? It ends up right here.
With sewerage.
You got it.
With pesticides.
You got it.
With oil.
Bravo.
With other things that are harmful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The other kinds of things that have happened, particularly in the United States, but also in other countries, is what do they do in rivers? They put big dams in. And so all of the sediment that used to wash down and make those nice barriers at the outlets of rivers, for example, in the Gulf of Mexico, it isn't there anymore. The large delta of the Nile River is gradually disappearing because of the Aswan Dam. Same game. We are gradually changing the dynamics of this whole hydrologic process.
Okay. And let me just say, so it's changing. So what?
As you said, this is the source of our fish.
All right.
It is the source of many other things that we use. It is the communication between the land mass and the open oceans. It is accumulating lots of things that are running off, like pesticides, like fertilizers. There is large amounts of fertilizer that washes out and ends up in here. You have dead zones coming up in places like the Gulf of Mexico. So it's not quite your local sewer, but it's a very contentious and difficult area to work on.
Don't 10,000 scientists around the world focus on this area right now?
No.
No?
No. It's interesting because the history of science, I think it's probably true in other areas as well, the history of science is that as the field develops, you do the easy things first. So in terms of water, the open oceans were much easier to study than these things, because if you think about it, these are all mixed up. They're one thing close to the land, they're the other thing close to the ocean. They're very hard to study. So it's only been really in the last 10 or 20 years that more and more people are beginning to really attack these questions.
Okay, so the time has come now, because this body of water has not been studied
Enough. Yes.
And it's crucial, it's important, and especially the food source. And God help us if something happens to that food source.
Absolutely.
So your organization has an interest in studying this body
Right.
of water.
Yes, this is one of the new areas that our department's less than 10 years old, and we are still growing. And one of the areas that we are planning to move into is this whole study of the coastal oceans.